and from that, then the TMDLs are developed. And they're even once they are developed, then they're reviewed every 5 years. And it certainly sounds like for the St. Johns Basin, it does need to be reviewed. But to go on a wide sweep and just cover the state of Florida and say this is what needs to be done for the state is overarching and overreaching and unneeded.
Mr. Brinkman?
A couple of issues. One, it's not one standard for the entire state. No. Actually, there's 6 regions for inland waters alone. 2, I hear about economic impact, but I think people forget that, gee, if we need to upgrade our sewer systems, that's going to create jobs. That's not necessarily an impact to the economy. That can actually be a positive benefit to the economy. It can put people to work, and frankly, we need to put people to work right now. And the other thing is, people come to Florida for the natural environment. You know, that's basically what we have here. And if we don't protect it, we're going to continue the process we're in right now, where more people are leaving the state than are moving into it.
Well, one of the it's not just agriculture that, though, has opposed some of these things. You know, some municipalities and governmental units have opposed those. Representative Bembry, what impact does it have on municipalities, and do you see that there should be something, though, that cities and counties could be able to do to improve things that might still help, you know, address the issues that we've talked about?
Well, you can always make improvements in any time that you're doing something. I think cities and counties certainly have a lot on the line with wastewater and you know, just a lot of areas that this will touch, and I think it's very important that they stay plugged in and continue to develop, you know, to develop strategies that will improve the quality of water. But you know, if you go into and put the stringent requirements that EPA has recommended into effect, the cost of cost of operations, they're going to skyrocket. They're going to be, I mean, tremendously high, not just a little bit high, according to all the facts that we can gather. And I think it's very threatening. You know, I don't have a really problem with a fiscally responsible solution, you know, to that kind of problem that's based on solid, you know, scientific information that's been tested and proven to be valid, you know. But at this point in time, you know, the one-size-fits-all attitude, and like I said, it's over 6 districts, I realize that, but we got 350,000 acres of lakes and, you know, hundreds of miles of streams, and you know, it needs to be tailored to the individual water body. It's not reasonable nor effective to go in there and say, well, the St. John's has this problem, so apparently the Suwannee does, and you know, and not really have the science to basically back it up, because you know, probably the vast majority of information that EPA is using was derived, you know, from DEP, and of course they have done since '99 a great job in all the study and background. There's probably not a state around that has any better background and any more information than the state of Florida does. So you know, I think that we're on the right track with the best management practices, especially with agriculture. Agriculture has bought into that, and they're making it work. And I think that if we, you know, what I'm concerned about, if we derail that situation with total maximum daily loads and the BMPs that ag and other areas are utilizing, then we damage our ability to move forward in this process.
Now, I did read some editorials saying that because the state of Florida really didn't move is what prompted you to go to EPA and bring it in. So tell us, though, where we go from here. Now, the numbers are out there from EPA that they want the state to meet. And there is a process now of what is it going to take to get a final solution or whatever.
Well, 2 things. Representative Bembry is right. The data that they used, the EPA used, came from the Department of Environmental Protection. In fact, the Department of Environmental Protection was following basically the same course. They recognized we need something different. They were on a course to establish numeric standards themselves. In fact, even announced that in the fall of last year. What happened was, once this consent decree moved forward, the department withdrew its, in effect, they are now standing on the sidelines, other than feeding information, I would argue misinformation, about this process. You know, the one thing that, you know, agriculture, in our basin, we have the Tri-Counties area, we have a lot of ag, and the farmers, some of which we talk to regularly, are doing good things with BMPs. What is interesting to me, the Institute of Food and Agricultural Science, right here at the University of Florida, reviewed these regulations, and in the their final statement was, in the short term, this is not going to cost agriculture any more money. In fact, it said, and you have the report, it also said that, as Representative Bembry said, the BMPs that agriculture is currently using will probably continue to get them where they need to be. In fact, they noted that if additional data was collected on the BMPs, it would actually, I think, show that agriculture is probably doing more than people think. So we're not suggesting that the whole BMP process, because it has been very successful in our river. But what I'm saying is, I think there is some points that are being made that certainly IFAS doesn't agree with.
Well, we mentioned BMP. We mean best management practices.
Sorry,
which
we're all in an
what people are
world.
trying to get agriculture to do to make sure that
Tom.
if we could, just from the agriculture standpoint for a second, though, what is it that is going to cost your farmers more to meet this? What are they going to have to do?
Well, to begin with, yes, there are 5 sets of different numbers. They're similar, but there are 5 sets of numbers around the state, and according to ecoregion. What we are very, very concerned about, actually more so than those numbers themselves, is the possibility of the downstream waters. There's wording that the downstream waters must be protected, and that wording is very loosely written, that it becomes overprotective, and to comply with those standards will be considerably more money than what the IFAS has the numbers that IFAS has generated, and that's what's concerning us more than anything else. Yeah. Now, besides that, we really feel that the environmental community needs to be concerned about that, because we think that those numbers actually are going to harm the downstream waters, because that water coming into those downstreams would be too clean, would not support fisheries, would not support the plant life that everything growing from microplankton on up need a certain amount of nutrients to survive. We do as well.
Is there such a thing as too clean water?
There is not such a thing as too clean of water, and we are very concerned about the downstream waters, because the water that we have in this part of the state, most all of it eventually reaches the coast, and we're having huge problems in this state with red tide blooms and red algal drift. The idea that our water could possibly be too clean, frankly, I think is ridiculous. And, you know, talking about cost, first of all, I want to say that I don't think any of the groups that filed this suit are against agriculture. Last time I checked, everybody I know likes to eat, and we all have to accept the fact that if agriculture is going to grow us the food, there is an impact and there's going to be a cost. But talking about cost, sewer systems, they have tried to say it's $50 billion. In almost 20 years, throughout the United States, we've only spent $58 billion on sewer plant upgrades. So it's hard to see how we could spend $50 billion in the state of Florida alone. Furthermore, you know, the utilities, not all utilities are opposed to this. I don't believe the one here in Gainesville is. And by the way, we will meet the criteria for a latch with sink in Paynes Prairie, because Paynes Prairie is a natural national landmark, and we really feel strongly it needs to be protected. And we're going to build what's probably a $20 million sheet flow restoration project, because one of the sewer plants